Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. We're looking at more IST NBA in-season tournament action here for Tuesday night. Two more games in the quarterfinals elimination round. We are recording this for you on Monday night after the Celtics just got upset, we'll call it, after that loss to the Pacers, which was a pretty awesome game. Now we're in the midst of a pretty fun one here between the Pellies and Kings. Lots of defense. It's like kind of playoff-y, right? Like there's some actual care on defense. We know that a lot of guys have even admitted they might have not played in these games if this wasn't as important to them as the in-season tournament was. So lots more to look forward to. We're going to use that in our analysis here for Tuesday night's games. Want to remind you to follow along. We've got best bets in this one. Also have play props, so like and subscribe to that page. Head to thelines.com. Use the odds finder tool up there to make sure you're getting the best juice available to you. And let's go ahead and get right into your first bet here, Nate, for Tuesday night's slate.
Yeah, if we expect more defense, we expect more grit and grind, then you gotta like the Knicks here at +5. I think it opened +6.5, in fact, and people were jumping on that right away because the Bucks are not necessarily, a fully formed team at this point. They don't have tremendous depth. They've been kind of bailed out by Dame Lillard going off in the fourth quarter in a few games, but it's been clunky and kind of awkward. And while Dame might get his, Jalen Brunson has absolutely whooped him in any opportunity, including dropping 45 when these teams met a month ago. The Knicks are just a tough team that's going to muck it up. And, their last three losses to Milwaukee with Brunson are by 6, 4, and 5 points. So if you give me the points, I'll take that. I will put maybe a half a unit on the money line here. Or consider even the money line with the under parlay, because the Knicks kind of depend on that low scoring environment, because their offense is not necessarily going to go off. They're going to beat you with rebounding, with defense. And it seems like they have the recipe to do that, despite the fact that they lost to the Bucks in this game. They out-rebounded them by 15. The Bucks just had a crazy spike game from three, hit 20 of 40. Giannis went 3 for 3. That will never happen again. But Giannis also had 7 turnovers and now is averaging 22 with 5.5 turnovers in his last two against these Knicks. Got Mitch Robbins foul trouble. Julius Randle had a classic awful game, which he will throw in once in a while. We went 5 for 20, and no RJ Barrett for the Knicks to try to keep pace here. I think with RJ playing here, with all hands on deck for the tournament, they actually have better depth. Like the Bucks just don't have much wing depth right now, with how Middleton looks. It's funny to say in a game with the unstoppable Giannis to just say, like, I think Jalen Brunson is the most dependable player in this game because the Bucks point guard defense is so bad. And because he's such a reliable clutch player. In the playoffs last year, the Knicks had a 120 offensive rating in the clutch, mostly due to Brunson. Nobody else was really stepping up that consistently. This season, they're actually 7th in 3-point percentage and 41% in their last three. And Milwaukee has struggled to guard the 3-point line, allowing 40% in their last three. But this is more about the Knicks defense. Number 2 in free throws allowed, number 4 in paint points, number 2 in fourth quarter points. So if we see more of this kind of playoff-y environment where they're going to muck it up and keep it close, I don't really see the Bucks being able to pull away and win by more than 5 here.
I might have agreed with you more heartily on taking the Knicks if, one, my heart wasn't invested in it. Like, this is part of my reason for believing in the IST is, as a Knicks fan, I'm like, yeah, I'll take a freaking tournament win. We haven't won crap in forever, which is what we see from the Pacers, which is what we see from the Kings, who came out wicked hot against the Pellies until the Pellies came back in the second quarter as we're recording. But still, like, it's this like incentive for these teams that would just like to win something. Now what we know what the Aston Villas of the English Premier League are feeling like when they're like, yeah, I'll take a win. I don't care if this seems like a consolation prize. I'm a fan of a team that I would love to have some hardware. And I think the Knicks are going to bring that a lot more. You know, the numbers are there to support the Knicks being able to hang in this game at the very least, if not pull it out at the end to all the points that you made. And I also think the fact that they're going to care is going to play a huge factor into this. And I'm not saying that the Bucks are not going to care, but there's something different between having a few champions on your team plus a guy who's a surefire Hall of Famer, right? And what their accolades that they're looking for at this point they're a little bit higher than the in-season tourney. But either way, I think this one is right for defense. That's my favorite bet in this one. It's under 225.5. This got bet up from 222.5. So thank you very much, because I still like an under, even though obviously there's some people with some smarts and some money who are pushing the line down. I think 225. I mean, look, it's larger than any spread that they've hit in their last 3 games against each other. And that's really what I'm focused on, is the last 3 between these two teams, having everybody that's going to play in this game outside of Dame, and Drew Holiday obviously played in a couple of them, but they already played this season, 110 to 115. In the last 3, we're talking about an average pace of 94, 92 in the 3 games ago, 94, and then we had a 97 pace in this last one. And even in that 97 pace, like, that was at a time when the Bucks were playing way faster than they even are right now. They came out the gate playing at about a 104 pace, down to still, about 102, playing faster at home, but not playing as efficiently on offense. Actually, much better on defense at home, where they have about a 112 defensive rating versus a 117.5 defensive rating out there on the road. They've played faster teams at home, so it's actually they've played faster bad teams at home. So that defensive rating is going to be a little bit skewed, because the better offensive teams that they've played on the road. That said, the fast teams they played are bad, right? So it's just the Knicks aren't going to play fast. They're not going to worry about outscoring a team. They need to bruise it up, and that's what they're going to do in this matchup, which they've always done. Which is why we see this total having gone under so often between these two teams. I also do like the fourth quarter stuff. Like, I think we can definitely buy into the idea that with a playoff atmosphere, things get a little bit choppier at the end when points are harder to come by. Everybody's digging in. The stakes are higher. We know all that. So shots are a little bit less likely to go in. But the Knicks in the fourth quarter, on top of being the slowest team in the fourth quarter and any other quarter, because they're just the slowest team in the league, they play a little bit slower than they normally would in the other 3, down to a 94 pace in the fourth quarter. Also have the top defense in that time frame. In the clutch, similar stuff to what you just said, as well as what I was looking at. 2 good clutch teams, but one that I trust more on defense at the end of games as well, in terms of the Knicks right now. Because as good as the Bucks are down low, you mentioned all the Jalen Brunson stuff. Quick aside there, I would also continue to probably target his points. It's getting up there in points, and it gets scary at like 26.5. I know that the points for him are something that he clearly looks to execute when he plays this team in the last 2 or 3 that he's played against them, because of the fact that, like, the better defenders are playing on the other guys on his team, as he knows. So either way, that's just a quick aside there, but I still think points are going to be too hard to come by in this one, and under 226 is my favorite play.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a good opportunity. I think there's a profit boost token on FanDuel for live bets to do an extra 25%. And to look at this game, maybe it's a little more high scoring early on, and then you're able to get a live under, because, yeah, we've seen the fourth quarter can really get choppy with these teams. And that Knicks offense, I mean, I talked about them in the clutch, but on the road in the playoffs last season, they're scoring 96 a game, but holding opponents, right around there, and holding them under 11 threes per game at 31%. The 3-ball, something Milwaukee is obviously dependent on right now, with especially against a good interior team that can stop Giannis from getting all the way to the rim. So I'm not going to be scared off points entirely, because as we're seeing here, the Western Conference game is looking pretty high scoring in SAC, and I will take the Lakers offense to flow here. I'll take the Suns to keep the pressure on enough for the Lakers to score 115, whether they win or not. I'll take their team total here. We know LeBron really gives a care about this tournament. That's why they went 4-0 in group play. And hopefully he'll drag AD along with him in terms of bringing it. But either way, this is a great matchup for AD against the Suns. He has produced consistently against this team. And I mean, with Booker and KD on the other end, like the efficiency in the half court for both teams should be really high. I mean, they met in this in-season tournament. Lakers dropped 122. They had 120 plus in 3 of their 4 in-season games here, despite a bunch of them being blowouts. They shot 48% from 3 in those games. They've gone 120 plus in 3 of their last 4 meetings with Phoenix. The exception is game 2 of the season this year, which is just an absolute gross, shorthanded, to move on from it. Neither team was ready to start the year. Lakers home road splits this year, averaging 3 more points per game, 2 more free throw attempts. LeBron averaging 2.5 more assists per game as the spearhead of that offense. AD shooting 57% and is a plus 79 at home. He's a minus 57 on the road. And they're not dependent on the three ball. Like I said, they've been shooting well in the tournament. That's not their bread and butter, as we know. Third in paint points, eighth in free throw rate. The Suns allow the 10th most paint points on the road. They allow the second most offensive rebounds. They defend the 3-point line well. I don't think that matters as much in this matchup. So I'll take the Lakers, LeBron and company to score here, and probably the Suns to come along for the ride. I don't have a problem with the overall game total here, because I mean with KD and Book, you're not going to keep them down.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed on all that. I mean, I'll just go right into my bet, which is also from this game, because I am going to take the Lakers to win it all. Everything you said correlates to what I have to say, right? Like the idea that they're going to score 115 in this game. I'm not saying they have to do that. I do think that that's going to be a pretty. It's a better MO for them to go ahead and just outscore the Suns. I think the victory for them at home is going to be on the back of them scoring a lot of points. It's really about where each team's sort of strength is, and LeBron is not going to be trying to lock up KD. Anthony Davis, I think he's going to do a pretty good job on Yusuf Nurkic, but it's not like they're running through Nurk. It's really about him getting in there to throw a body at AD for the purpose of rebounding and keeping AD off the offensive boards. Maybe he'll have some nice passes because Nurk is an exceptional passer for a big man. I will say that for a center, but I'm not worried about him really like doing anything else. My main point there is if the ball is going to be running strictly through Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, it's gonna be with some pace. It's gonna be with some purpose. It's gonna be a very efficient offense, which is what we've seen when it's the two of them. You'd like a little bit more, but KD has been out of this world, man, and so that's why I like them to like hang around in the points category. But all this comes down to is for the Lake Show. I agree. LeBron wants to win this thing. He's been incredible. That's a huge part of it. The other part is where the Lakers are going to score from. Like we said, like AD will be a big part of that, but it's not like he's backing Nurkic down. He's going to be attacking him and even throwing up some of those floaters that he does at times as he gets into the lane and then using his moves down there. But also for LeBron, it's the same concept. The Suns are giving up the top five. What do I have here? Sixth most points per game to small forwards. Also, the usage rate for LeBron continues to rise when he plays against the Suns. So it's just like it's clearly like a 30-ish point LeBron. At least that's what he would like in my eyes. The attempt is going to be for LeBron to score, which he's done a little bit more against this Suns team, and they've had no luck stopping him. Obviously, as we've seen, it's like a very like pick your spot moment as well for the Lakers. When you look at their last like 5-6 games, they've sort of been playing this like, I don't want to call it cat and mouse, but LeBron will sit or only play 26 minutes because they do care about the in-season tournament, right? So a lot of the recent metrics are skewed. The 25.5 points is wonderful for us in a game that we can definitely bank on him carrying, like we've said, and we pick these spots in the playoffs as well. So I think it's a similar aspect where if you're going to ride with LeBron to give it his all in this game, you expect AD to come along for the ride if LeBron's out there. So yeah, I'm going to take them with the small spread at -1.5.
Yeah, it's what we saw again when they met in group play here. LeBron 32, KD another huge game going the other way. They don't really guard each other as much, and I mean the Suns. The question mark was always, how are they going to defend with these guys out there? I mean, and Nurkic is a nice piece. Maybe can tangle with AD, but they really don't have any answers for LeBron. So yeah, I mean that's clearly where we're headed for player props too, if we're talking about those two superstars. So nice segue there to go check out that part of the episode.
Yes, sir, as that's all the time that we have for you in Best Bets. So make sure you are liked and subscribed. Check out that player props video Nate mentioned. And until we see you next, happy betting.